We got some early projections in for the opening weekend domestically for upcoming Captain America Brave New World. And while on the surface, $86 to $95 million domestic opening may sound good, it's not really the greatest when you consider the fact that the budget for this movie was around $350 to $375 million. Now, just as a point of reference, that puts it between the price as Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. So this would be one of the most expensive Marvel movies to date. And with this type of opening weekend, it's doubtful that they'll actually be able to make their money back, considering with the budget like that, they probably need to make over $1 billion at a minimum in order to break even, but probably closer to a $1.2 billion mark. But I'm getting kind of ahead of myself right now. Let's look at this article from Deadline. It talks about this opening weekend for Captain America or Captain America Brave New World. In less than 5 weeks until the first big opening of 2025, that being Disney/Marvel Studios Captain America Brave New World, which hit tracking service Quorum and is expected to do $86 to $95 million over the 4-day Valentine's Day/President's Day weekend on February 14th. The Friday through Monday figure is also bound to be $100 million at this point in time. So there you go. That's just kind of what the early projections are saying. There's a lot of ways they can actually get this. Personally, I'm not sure whether or not they'll actually even hit this mark. I think it might fall below that, but there's really no way of knowing for sure 100% certainty at this time. But I just don't have a good feeling about this movie because it just seems like it's something that there is some excitement surrounding, and at least there has been more excitement surrounding this than we've seen with other prior Marvel movies like the Marvels, for instance, because at least this one, there are some characters that people recognize, but still there's really nothing here, I think, that gets general audiences super excited. It's not like what we saw with Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, just think about it for a second. This movie needs to make more money than Deadpool and Wolverine just to break even. Do you think there's as much hype surrounding this movie as there is that movie? I really don't expect that right now. The projection takes into account the change up in the cast in the Captain America franchise and the overall reset of the franchise. The next installment is a grounded title a la 2014's Captain America Winter Soldier, which opened to $95 million over 3 days on April 4th through 6th. Now, keep that in mind. It opened up to $95 million in 2014. Ticket prices have gone up since then. Inflation has gone up since then domestically, quite considerably. So in the decade since Captain America Winter Soldier, they're expecting this one to make the same amount of money, which just goes to show the hype surrounding this one has been severely reduced compared to previous Marvel installments, because to actually make up the same ticket sales on the high estimates of their projection, that means they're selling significantly fewer tickets now since their tickets are more expensive. On Quorum, Captain America Brave New World has the most awareness of the movies opening in the next month. That means they've spent a lot on marketing, which also ties into why they need to make so much more money in order to actually turn a profit on it. At 58, higher than Universal's Wolfman, Lionsgate's Flight Risk, and Studio Carnal Sony's Paddington Peru, which is also opening over the President's Day stretch. Captain America Brave New World is strongest with men, of course, with women under 35 not that far behind men over 35 in awareness. Captain America is the strongest with men. Okay, yeah, that seems to make sense right there. Now, I'm not saying that this movie isn't going to make hundreds of millions of dollars. It probably is going to make hundreds of millions of dollars at the global box office, and it'll most likely even be the number one movie domestically, if not globally, during its opening weekend. I'm not saying that's not going to happen when it comes to this movie. I'm saying it's not going to be enough for this movie to be profitable for the studio, because as we established, it needs to make quite a bit in order to be profitable. Now, just as another point of comparison, because I already talked about with Captain America Winter Soldier, and because that was mentioned in this article, but just take a look at other MCU movies that's been opening up in recent years. Right now, you have Deadpool and Wolverine. that opened up to $211 million and made $1.3 billion at the global box office. That's pretty much what this movie needs to make at the global box office in order to be profitable. Now, you also look at other ones, the Marvels, okay, that had a weak opening. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. All those movies had higher openings than what this movie is expected to get. And all those movies wouldn't have been enough to actually make this movie profitable. I mean, we can continue on. Thor Love and Thunder, $144 million domestic opening, $760 million take. So not good. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, $187 million domestic opening, $952 million global take. So again, that wouldn't be enough for this movie to be profitable. The only one that we see on here, actually, no, that's significantly higher. Spider-Man No Way Home. Okay, so Eternals, $71 million, $400 million. Shang-Chi, $75 million, $432. You get the idea right here. It's supposed to open up lower than many of these movies that still didn't make enough in order for it to be profitable. Now, I was looking through here before and I found something that is kind of a glimmer of hope for this. Let me see. Where is it? No, it was up here more. Spider-Man Far From Home. There it is. So Spider-Man Far From Home had a $92 million opening weekend domestically, and it made $1.1 billion. So that could be considered success, or that might be around the point for Captain America 4 where they start breaking even. But I don't think it's going to necessarily have the legs that we saw with Spider-Man Far From Home. I really don't expect a whole lot coming out of this movie, especially when you compare it to other Captain America movies. They mention Winter Soldier. I think it's more, or at least think about it if you compare it to Civil War. Civil War was the biggest Captain America movie that we saw that made around $1.1 million at the box office. And that's because it was almost thought of as Avengers 2.5, because it was essentially an Avengers movie with the cast that they had for that one. And it's no wonder that they made over $1 billion with that and had a huge opening weekend. But still, that was when they had the cast that they had for that movie and were essentially making another Avengers movie. We're not getting that with Captain America Brave New World. No hate to Anthony Mackie. I think he's fine as Falcon, and I've liked him in other stuff that he's done. I don't think he can carry a movie like Captain America by himself. Harrison Ford, I don't know if he's going to be enough to actually bring in audiences for this. We saw it didn't work for Dial of Destiny. I just don't see what there is with Captain America 4 in order to actually attract audiences and the numbers that they need to justify the spend that they had for this movie. I really don't know why they tried reshooting this movie several times and why they spent so much money on it, because there's really no way you can make it work with what they're actually have to work with. But I don't know, that's what they're doing. The only thing that I can imagine is Disney was expecting this one to be a loss too, but they've saw how bad things have been going with their movies in the last couple of years. So maybe they're just looking at this as almost a sort of investment. They're like, okay, we're going to spend money on this one. We're not going to make our money back on this one, but maybe we can fix it to the point where people at least enjoy it, and then it'll kind of help rebuild goodwill with audiences. That's really the only thing I can take away from this. I guess we'll just have to wait and see whether or not that actually works out, because we've heard talk about test screenings and other things like that, that the movie is not going well. That kind of justified a lot of their reshoots, but there's only so much that they can actually do before they have to premiere. So we'll just have to wait and see whether or not audiences really love this movie. And if they do, if that's enough to try to rebuild the Marvel brand, I don't think it'll work out for them. But, you know, Marvel Studios is kind of desperate at this point. So let's just see how this plays out for them. But let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Do you think this projection is a good sign for them, or do you think it does look like it's probably going to be a flop for them? Comment below and let me know. And also, if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to click that like button and share this video out there, because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.